one. One championship, 166. That's a lot of me saying one. This is going down at the Lusail Sports Arena in Qatar. I think it's also pronounced Qatar or something like that. Main event, Reiner de Ritter taking on Anatoly Malykhin once again. The rematch for the ages, really, in the light heavyweight division for one. Let's start this thing off. Let's start first with any fights on the undercard that you guys want to quickly highlight.
Yeah, so we're just going to do the 3 title fights here. Stamp was on this card also and fell off recently. I haven't seen the reason, but that sucks because I love me a Stamp fight. But the one other interesting one on here is Arjun Bowler, who's obviously the former heavyweight champ, against Amir Ali Akbari. That should just be 2 big, strong dudes trying to outbody each other. So that one should be entertaining. But yeah, beyond that, I feel like the 3 title fights are where it's at.
Yeah, man. Omar, any other thoughts? How Saturday that Stamp is not on the card?
Yeah, I have no idea who anybody else is on this card.
That's okay.
I should mention one generally has pretty good quality cards, and even though you might not know who the names are, I'm sure if you watched this card, it would probably be a solid quality card.
Also, all 3 of these title fights are rematches, which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay, let's first talk about, let me pull this up. Boy, where does it go? First going to talk about Brooks and, what's his name?
I'm trying to see if there's any betting odds up. There were not yesterday when I looked, but I'm just curious if there are now. No, it still says none.
Brooks and Pacio. Is it Pacio or Pacio?
Pacio.
Pacio.
Yeah.
This is their rematch they fought back in December of 2022. Brooks has not fought since. Pacio has gotten a win back in December of 2022. Jared Brooks got the W by a UD after 5 rounds. And now we're back, gentlemen. Mark, give us your take and your pick of Jared Brooks versus Joshua Pacio.
Yeah, so I just looked. I still don't see any odds up for these fights, so I don't know why that is. But yeah, so 1 inch of height for Pacio here. Not sure about the reach. I also can't find a reach for him, which is so annoying. That happens a lot with one fighters who have not fought in America. Their reach is just not listed on our websites for whatever reason. But yeah, so Joshua Pacio is going to have the chance to get his strawweight title back here. Remember, these are, I guess, technically would be 115ers because they're rehydrated at 125. So this is strawweight. The problem is, as solid of a striker as Pacio is, I just think he is outmatched by Jared Brooks. And I thought this the first time they fought, based on the athleticism and the speed and the power and, of course, the wrestling that Brooks brings. But now I think it even more because I watched that first fight and I watched Jared Brooks do absolutely fine in the striking with Pacio. So technique for technique, yeah, maybe Josh has the edge, but the speed and power of Brooks almost made it irrelevant the first time they fought. So I can't do anything here besides go with Jared Brooks yet again. I don't think Pacio has a way to change things aside from, obviously just catching him clean with something at some point. But I'm not going to bet on that. And I think it'll be similar to the last one, maybe even with more wrestling success for Brooks. And I'm going to say that he puts an even bigger stamp on things this time and gets the finish. So I will say Jared Brooks by round 3 submission.
I totally agree. I think that I love your take that Brooks might even rely more heavily on the wrestling. And that's definitely where his advantage lies. So why not lean into it even more? And I'm going to say he's going to get another win by UD this time. Omar?
I would agree. I think the Monkey God is going to take home another win, another unanimous decision. I love the way that his name really matches the way that he tends to fight. Very bouncy, very movie. Like when you look at it too, and the Monkey God to me is a very Asian reference, very cultural, so like I didn't really know how to take it when I first started, and then I watched him fight and I was like, no, I get it. I understand.
Okay. Here we go. 1 second. Oh, I lost my tab. Our next title fight going down between Tan Lee and Kai Tang. These two fought back in August of 2022 for 160, and Tai Lee came away with the win in that fight by a unanimous decision as well.
No, Tan Lee did not win that fight. Tang Kai won the fight.
Tang Kai won that fight. Sorry. I'm reading this backwards. That's right. And we are back. Let me cue this up real quick. Kai Tang, 28 years old, out of Hunan, China, 17-2 as a pro with 13 knockouts, has never been finished himself in any way, shape, or form. Tan Lee, 38 years old, out of Louisiana, 14-3 as a professional with 14 finishes and 12 of them knockouts. None of his wins have come by way of decision. Here we have it. Omar, start us off. Give us your take and your pick.
Another rematch here. Another relatively close fight as well. I like how do you pronounce this kid's first name? I always call him Lee, but it's Tan.
Tan.
Yeah. I like the way Tan fights, and we already know that he's a former. He was in the UFC at one point. Oh, he was in the Ultimate Fighter, is what it was. But he's really excelled ever since being in ONE FC. He has been, generally knocking dudes out left and right, having been in ONE FC. And this was really the first speed bump that he had run into, the only real speed bump that he had run into in his entire career with ONE. Even in his last fight, he was able to, come away with not only a win, but a finish and his first submission victory in ONE FC. So it's hard for me to count out Tan. I really like the way that he fights. It's just, how do I think he's going to win this fight, man? And I don't know if he's not finishing Tang. I don't know if he's winning that fight. And as much as I like watching him and watching the way that he fights, he might just still be a step behind when it comes to Tang and completing an entire fight with all 3 rounds, or at least 2 out of the 3 winning. So I think this is going to go down. I think it's going to be another close fight, but I think Kai is going to walk away the winner again. So I'm going to go with Tang Kai with unanimous decision.
I concur. I will differ from you only in saying that I think that this time Tang Kai gets the finish over Tan Lee. I think it's going to come in the second round, and he's going to finish him with his hands. This is going to be a banger, I think. Mark, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that my fucking phone is bugging out. Okay. 1 inch of height for Tang, 2 inches of reach for Lee. And Lee gets the rematch here after subbing Ilya Fremenov, who people were pretty damn high on. And Lee heel hooked him in like a minute back in October to get himself another shot to get his title back here. So that was a pretty nice win for him. And to me, Lee is easily the most live of the 3 fighters who are getting rematches on this card, because Tang Kai, as good as he is, he took that title off Tan Lee with a game plan. He came in, he stayed elusive, he just repeatedly ripped the legs of Tan Lee in that fight. And the style of Lee, he's that lunging style. He loves to jump inside, make these big sudden movements on power shots, and that was removed in that fight as his legs just got more and more compromised. And of course, Tang Kai can absolutely do that again, or win this in other ways, because the two are very comparable. But one thing about Tan Lee is that he's always been a smart fighter and an evolving fighter, and of course, we know how skilled he is as a striker. So with how high level he is and the way he himself is able to adjust and game plan, I actually think I'm gonna go with him to get this done. I think he'll be more ready for the kicks, and that having been in there with Kai, he'll have learned some ways that he can more limit Kai's movement and walk him into some bigger shots. And it's not like it wasn't a competitive fight the first time. It was really just the leg kicks that kept Kai ahead. So I'm going to say that we get a title change here and that Tan Lee finds a big one. I know he's 38, which really makes me not want to make this pick, but I don't know. I just have a vibe. I will go with round 3 KO for Tan Lee.
Woo. Okay. We differ on that one. Who's ahead right now? Is it you? It's probably you.
It's me. I just was adding it up. I think I'm up by 1 on you and like 2 on Omar. I think we're all relatively close, something like that.
Okay, main event time. 166, a rematch in the light heavyweight division between Anatoly Malykhin and Reiner de Ritter. Here we go. The two fought back in December of 2022, and someone's O had to go. At the time, de Ritter was 16-0. Malykhin was 12-0. Malykhin came away with the victory. He was 11-0 because he fought Bular since. He knocked out Reiner de Ritter in the very first round, 4:35 of round 1. And de Ritter has taken more than a year off, and he is back. He said that he has been sharpening his tools and grinding ever since. And he's here to avenge his loss. Let me cue this up. De Ritter, the Dutch Knight, the 33-year-old fighting out of the Netherlands. Like I said, he's now 16-1 as a pro. Only 2 of those 16 wins have gone the distance. 11 of those are submission wins. And he'll be rematching against the only man who has ever defeated him, Anatoly Sladiki Malykhin. I hope I'm not butchering that nickname too poorly. 36 years old, out of Oblast, Russia. Like I said, undefeated now, 13-0. And none of his wins have gone the distance. None of his fights, for that matter, have gone the distance. 4 wins by submission and 9 by knockout for the big Russian. Like I said, he defeated de Ritter back in December 2022, and then he fought, I'm going to butcher his name because I haven't said it in a while, Arjan Singh Bular. Mark, hook me up.
Yeah, Arjan Bular.
Okay,
sorry,
Mark, start us off. Yeah, start us off. Give us your take and those odds and your pick.
So I don't have odds still for 1, unfortunately. The measurements, 4 inches of height for RDR. Again, no reach listed for Malykhin, which is so annoying. But to clarify, this is for the middleweight championship. It's at 205 because of the whole rehydration thing with 1, but it is actually for the middleweight title. And to fill anyone in who doesn't know, that's what makes this fight so cool, because Anatoly Malykhin is trying to do something that's unheard of, and that is to simultaneously hold belts in 3 different divisions of a major MMA organization. He is just collecting belts in every fight he's in at this point. First, in February of 2022, he knocked out Kirill Grashenko to become the interim heavyweight champion. He was expected to unify the heavyweight belts with Arjan Bular, who was the champ at the time. But when that fight fell through, he instead ended up challenging Reiner de Ritter for the light heavyweight title, which in 1, I believe, is a rehydrated 225. And he knocked out de Ritter in the first round in December 2022 to become the light heavyweight champ. Then in June of last year, he got his unification bout at heavyweight with Arjan Bular, finished him with strikes in the 3rd round to officially become double champ at heavyweight and light heavyweight. And the very first thing he did when he got on the mic was express his desire to challenge Reiner de Ritter again, who had been a double champ. He was middleweight and light heavyweight, and he had taken his light heavyweight. And he said this time he wanted to go all the way down to middleweight and try to take that from him so he could become a 3-division champion. And that is where we are in this story right now, because 1 went for it and they're giving him that shot. And it's going to be a hell of a story if he does it. And in their first fight, just to refresh anyone who may not remember that, it went very badly for Reiner de Ritter. And we haven't seen him since. He couldn't come close to taking Malykhin down, and he just ate damage because of it. And he's, de Ritter's an absolute grappling wizard. And if he could ever get Malykhin into a grappling situation, everything about this fight would change. But it's just hard for me to make a pick that says he can. I mean, even Bular couldn't at heavyweight. So, the wild card, I guess, is if anything changes here because of the weight, with Malykhin having to get all the way down to 205 Is he any slower? Is he any weaker? Is his cardio negatively affected? I mean, who knows? I guess there's a world where De Ridder can survive into, maybe round 3. Cardio starts becoming a factor. Maybe things start to change. Maybe he has some tricks up his sleeve after sitting for a whole year and watching tape on Malykhin, I'm sure, and seeing how he can enter and find ways to work his game. And he's the type of guy who will take some crazy grappling chances. So we may see, something unique from him in this fight. Who knows? Something jumping, you never know what De Ridder's going to do, but it's just very hard to pick that after how dominant it was the first time and what we've seen from Malykhin since. So I'm going to say it's a similar result. I will go with Anatoly Malykhin to become the triple champ with a round 2 TKO.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Omar, give us your take and your pick.
I have to agree, man. Malykhin absolutely murdered Reiner De Ridder the last time out. I mean, he that was basically Josh Emmett versus Bryce Mitchell, short of the seizure at heavyweight. I mean, he ran his fist directly into De Ridder's face, and De Ridder's reaction was all of, he broke my entire face. Rolled around on the ground until he got pounded into the dirt. I mean, it's as bad as it got. And like Mark said, he never really got a chance to get his own game going because he was too busy trying not to get fucked up by Malykhin. And that didn't really matter in the end because he did. I can't imagine anything is going to go different here. I mean, if something crazy happens and they're able to get down to the ground, maybe we'll see something. But the reality is Anatoly Malykhin is very measured in his approach. His base is very, very strong. He doesn't overcommit on his shots, so he's not off balance. And taking him down is going to be a fucking ordeal, and not one that I'm glad I have to deal with, because if you don't take him down, you're going to get punched into outer space. And I think that's what's going to happen. So KO round 1, Anatoly Malykhin.
Oh, baby. I'm going to go the opposite way here. I'm a believer in Reiner De Ridder and his skills overall and his ground skills. I think he gets this one to the mat where he needs it to be, and he does jiu-jitsu magic against the very strong Russian. If history repeats itself, to be honest, I won't be that surprised. I'm not making this pick with the most amount of confidence because Malykhin is a serious, serious striker. But I'm going to ride with the Dutchman. I'm going to go with the Dutch Knights by submission. I'll say round 2.